That's right, it's time for another episode of
Know Your Troll.
Know Your Troll. This is a video series where I respond to you and your comments of all types. To be clear, not all of these comments in this video are troll comments. The ones that are troll comments will start out with
Troll.
to make it easier for you, the viewer, to identify. So, let's get to it.
Troll.
Charlie D'Amelio says, not staying in tune is due to the tremolo is floating. It's a simple fix. Take off back panel, remove the springs, screw the tremolo claws, screws all the way down against the body cavity, turn guitar over, screw bridge plate all the way down against body, put springs back on. Now it's a hardtail and the whole tune all day. Also, new tuner won't fix a floating tremolo problem. This guy sounds like a noob. This comment was left on the now infamous Glary Guitars video. I demonstrated in that video how that guitar pulled out of tune, not just a little bit as I was playing it, but a lot, more than any other guitar I've ever played. Here's the thing. I have worked in the guitar business for a living for almost 15 years now, and I've gotten pretty good at it, by the way. I sell a lot of gear. And as such, I have unboxed, tested, and set up hundreds, if not thousands, of brand new guitars right out of the box. I'm not a noob. I know how to set up a Strat. The problem with this guitar was not the tremolo, it was not the springs, it was not the claw, it was none of that. Blocking the tremolo is not gonna fix it. It's just a garbage guitar with garbage tuners and garbage parts on it. Period. End. Feel free to prove me wrong. Nobody's been able to yet. Dan K says, who else wants the tabs for that riff? Dan, thank you very, very much. That really means a lot to me. This comment was on, I believe was left on the Fret Wraps demo, which is, surprising. That video was done surprisingly well. I never expected that thing to take off and generate anywhere near as many views as it has. I've been getting a lot of this lately, and it's shocking, and honestly, it's really blowing my mind. A lot of people are asking me to put out an album, and because they want to buy my music, which is again, which is very I'm not used to people telling me that. So I do plan to by the time you guys have seen this video, you will have already seen my favorite demo tracks video. As that one should be going up here fairly shortly. At least I think you will have already seen that one. If not, it will be very, very soon. But anyway, I do plan to, finish out all of those little short riffs and continue building on them and putting out an album here at some point. The biggest problem that I have is finding the time to do so, because it's a pretty time-consuming process, and and it's probably going to require some outside resources as well. As my studio engineering skills are still fairly novice at best. I'm not much of a recording guy. I figured out how to get good enough at get good enough to do what I need to do with it, but I'm a long way away from being Mutt Lang. But stay tuned. I do plan to do that here at some point in the future. Says, my JMP 1974 Marshall has no effect loop. My pedal board does. Can it still be utilized? I think what you were trying to say is that your pedal board, are you asking if you can use your pedal board into your 74 Marshall JMP that does not have an effects loop? This comment, I believe, was also left on the Metal Zone video, where I demonstrated the Metal Zone going into the effects loop as opposed to, compared to going into the front, and the difference in sound that it produces by doing that. So, if that is what you're trying to accomplish with no effects loop, I don't, at least without modification, I don't know that there is a way that you can bypass the JMP's preamp section, so you wouldn't be able to use the Metal Zone directly. However, as far as the rest of your pedal board goes, your reverbs, your delays, chorus, phaser, overdrives, all that kind of stuff. You can absolutely run all that stuff into the front. It might not, some of the effects may sound a little bit different. Like modulation, time-based effects seem to be, kind of hit or miss as far as which ones like to go into the front or the back of an amplifier more than others. So my best suggestion is experiment and see what sounds best to your ear. Thanks for the question, man. Enigma says, how can someone be so bad at talking? Are you just trying to get a new comment pinned at the top of another video? Because I already pinned your last troll comment to the top of a video, and that one's up to 100-something responses. And I did that specifically just so you keep getting alerts on it. Do you want more? Frank Kohler says, if you want to play electric guitar, it's best to have an electric and an acoustic guitar. The acoustic guitar helps to build your muscles, tendons, and finger dexterity. I disagree. Now, while there's certainly nothing wrong with having both an electric and an acoustic guitar, that part I don't disagree with. I would never discourage anybody from not owning both. However, I think that they are two totally different instruments, and you just don't, for the most part, you just don't play you just don't play an electric the same way you play an acoustic, and vice versa. I also don't think that, that acoustic guitars, I honestly, I think it's a myth, to be honest. I think that it is absolutely possible to build your muscles, tendons, and finger dexterity by, from learning on an electric guitar just as effectively as you can an acoustic. My opinion. I've always primarily been an electric player, and I own acoustic guitars, but 99.999% of the time I'm grabbing an electric. I'm just an electric player. That's just what I prefer. And by that token, when I was a kid and I was first wanting to learn to play guitar, I was into Metallica and Motley Crue and Megadeth and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, all that stuff, back in the 80s. And, that's what I wanted to sound like. If you handed me an acoustic and said, here you go nuts, that would have been a pretty deflating experience, for me. And I'm not sure I would have stuck with it. Now, had I said I was into the Beatles and John Mayer and Dave Matthews Band and, all that kind of stuff, yeah, absolutely. Handing me an acoustic guitar is probably the right instrument to be put in my hands. But for somebody like me, diehard metalhead, give me an electric all day. Gabriel Nicholas Farias Bravo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says, so the problem with Line 6 is the high gain sound, but what if I put a distortion pedal on my Line 6 Spider? Can I get a good crunchy sound in the other effects, or is it still suck? Which amp brand would you recommend? Gabriel, thank you very much for your question. Yeah, here's the Line 6 Spider Series amps are not good pedal platforms. They're just not. There's too much electronic stuff going on the inside of them that they just, adding more electronic and signal changes from the outside to go into it. It just doesn't seem to want to work well with most pedals. Yes, there are exceptions, but generally speaking, the Line 6 Spider Series, any of them, they're not designed to be pedal platforms. If you are looking for a good pedal platform, probably your best bet, that is technically in the modeling amp realm, that it, and again, is designed to be a pedal platform, I would recommend the Boss Katana series. The Boss Katanas are designed by a pedal company. Yes, they design their amps with the intention of their pedals being able to be utilized in their amps. So, I would start there. They're in about the same price range as the Spider series, and I think you will find that that those amps are a lot more pedal friendly. Good luck, man. I hope it works out for you. I'm Anonymous says, what's the overdrive pedal called? I was just curious, but I went and looked on your link, couldn't find it. Sorry, man. I'm just curious. Yeah, this is on. This was on the boost being the most annoying term in the guitar industry video. And yeah, the overdrive that I used in that video was the high wind amplification Direwolf overdrive. It's a tube screamer circuit, but not really anymore because it is heavily modified. Jordan Gale is the genius behind high wind amplification, and that is probably my favorite tube screamer circuit overdrive on the market. It's a killer overdrive, and I suggest that you go check it out. I'll put a link to it down in the description so that you can go check it out. I think he sells everything directly through, I think it's on Big Cartel or something. But, he's a one-man show, so, and that is a popular pedal gaining a lot of steam. on the among the pedal community right now. So if you order one, you might have a little bit of a wait for it, but I promise you he'll get to it. He is really, really serious about that. So Jeremy Refuse says, quote, "I'm a diehard BC Rich fan," unquote. And I'm out. Not even 2 minutes in. Ha ha ha. All because you don't like BC Rich guitars and I do. Yeah, this ain't an airport, dude. You don't have to announce your departure. You can just go. And now it's time for... Hey, y'all, watch this. Yes, that is correct. Welcome to my new segment called Hey, y'all, watch this. In addition to guitars and guitar gear, I also happen to love watches, and I know a few of my viewers out there also share the same interest. So I decided to include a 30-second ish segment into a few of my videos every now and then, talking about watches. If you like watches or you have an interest in getting into watches, there is a monthly subscription club called Watch Gang, in which I will include my referral link to Watch Gang down in the description box below, as well as up here in the card. Watch Gang is a really, really cool service. For $99 a month, you get a brand new watch in the mail every single month, and get to have some fun building your watch collection. Now, let's check out the watch of the day today, shall we? So there we have it. This is a watch from a company called the West End Watch Company. This is an automatic watch, of course, with a black. This is a Swiss-made watch, by the way, with an automatic movement, sapphire crystal there on the front. Little bezel there on the side. 20 ATM water resistance, and this thing feels just wears and feels great. I think it's a 43 millimeter case size. Pretty normal for pretty standard size for a dive watch, kind of like this. Pretty cool, huh? This one's from J.R. Baker. Says, "Great pants, decent list." I wore pants in that video. J.W. McMillany says, "It may just be because you're playing a great riff here, but I don't hate it." And again, thank you very much for a compliment on the riff. This video was on the worst distortion pedal ever video. The one that I did recently on the Yamaha multiband distortion. Here's the thing. You said you didn't hate it, and a lot of people actually said that actually sounds a lot better than I thought it was going to. I'll be honest, that it surprised me as well. Because for as long as I've owned that pedal, it has never sounded like that, or sounded that good, or anywhere near it. I don't know. I never did figure out what it was that finally, after the 30 some odd years that I've owned it, that I was finally able to get a good tone out of that thing. I have no idea. I'm gonna have to mess with it some more and figure out exactly what the secret of that thing was, because like I said, I was actually pretty surprised that it sounded as good as it did too. So, and several people commented on that, and it was definitely a pleasant surprise. Loman's Lyric says, "For one, you should have all the amps you talk about present with you to demo how it actually sucked rather than pictures of it." For one, I am quite sure that you are not about to spend a pile of your own money, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, on a pile of amps that you hate. So why the hell would you expect me to do the same thing? Richard M says, "Very informative video, but most annoying soundtrack." Richard, thank you very much for your comment, and you're not wrong. This was on the How Guitar Center Buys Used Gear video that I did. This video is about 3 or 4 years old now. The thing with that particular video was, it was still in my earlier days on YouTube. I had set that's the exact same background music that I used on all of my videos at that time. And I had the the level set where I normally did, and for whatever reason when I uploaded it, YouTube's compression went and the background music came through way too loud. Some people said it was, it wasn't too loud that you couldn't hear me talking, and I do think that is the case, but it was up. You're right, it is turned up a little bit too loud. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to fix it without deleting it and going back and correcting it and re-uploading it again. And I don't want to. I can't do that because that's become one of my most popular videos. So that would, at this point, basically you just got to learn to live with it. Rondo Bondo says, "Do me a favor, could you please put together an album? I would really appreciate it if you did. I really like your playing. Sorry for being selfish. I'm sure that everyone will agree. Thanks, Robert." Rondo Bondo, thank you very much for your comment. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this is a lot of people have been, leaving comments about my playing on my channel all of a sudden here in the last couple of weeks, and it's kind of surprising to me because that doesn't normally happen. I've never considered myself to be anything more than, that I'm, kind of an average Joe Schmo, average Joe rock and roll guy guitar player. So like I said, I do plan to put some of this stuff together in a record one of these days, but time is the biggest challenge that I'm facing right now. Sammy Warrior says, "I wonder if I should get this instead of the heavy metal Waza." But let me start by saying I will never ever talk anybody out of wanting to buy a Boss pedal. If you follow my channel for a while, you know how much I love Boss and just about all of their products. What I do find a little strange is this comment was left on my video from last year on the BD2 Blues driver, which isn't even remotely close to the HM2 or the soon-to-be. If you have not heard yet, Boss are planning on releasing a Wazacraft version of the now famous HM2 heavy metal pedal. So that's what you are referring to, whether you should wait for the new Wazacraft heavy metal HM2 to come out, or if you should get the Blues driver. Like I said, those two pedals are two total opposites, polar opposites of each other. So I'm not real sure what what you plan on using them for. If it's if you got to decide between the two, but if you want my honest advice, buy them both. Because you're not going to go wrong you're certainly not going to go wrong with the Blues driver. And I got to admit, even though the HM2 is not my favorite pedal, I still love it because it's a Boss pedal, and I'm really curious about that Wazacraft version when it comes out. I'll probably snag one of those myself. Sean Teague says, "You have a fundamental misunderstanding of the word research. Kind of ironic you should misunderstand the meaning of a word in a video where you complain about people misunderstanding a term. Spend some time with a dictionary and you won't look like quite so much of a fool." It's a joke, you dumb shit. Learn to take one. Steady Pulse says, "Let's hope nobody does a review on you. You're an absolute barrel of joy, ain't you?" Actually, I am. I'm a very happy guy. What other channel do you know that is willing to feature comments from assholes like you? Thomas Sotak says, "Hey, Robert, I have a quick question for you here. It's not relevant to the video's topic, though, sorry. If you've heard about these new Fender micro headphone amps, but there's also one made by NewX. You have any experience with these? I'm in the market for one of either, but I have no clue which to buy. It's only about one's about $99 and the other's around $69. Thanks in advance." I tell you what, I don't have any experience with either one of those headphone amps. However, my friend Emily at Get Offset, go check out her channel. I think she just demoed the Fender one here recently, very recently. And she's pretty knowledgeable. She's pretty knowledgeable about just about all things Fender. I think you might find what you're looking for there. In my experience, most of the NewX stuff is, while good quality and generally very well made, it's usually a clone of something else out there. So I'm going to assume that the NewX model is close to the Fender model. It could very well be just an opportunity for you to save $30. But at the same time, if it's a difference of $30, that'll get you a Fender product. You might want to consider going that route too. Tursa Talks says, "Any expensive gear is an ego booster." Again, I disagree completely. While I do agree with you with the point that there is lots and lots and lots of great gear to be had out there that is not expensive and is very, very affordable. I own a lot of it myself. I have a $700 guitar sitting behind me that I use in my videos all the time. That said, if you're expecting me to think that my $700 Schecter in the stand right behind me is the exact same quality, fit, finish, playability, sound, etc., features, all that stuff, compared to my Music Man Majesty, you are sorely mistaken. And you need to go hang out in some guitar shops and try some higher-end gear. Seriously. So, that's it. That was the last comment. Thank you all so much for submitting your comments. I promise I do try to read every single one of them as it comes in. I don't respond to all of them, but I do read just about every single one. And so for those of you that take the time to leave comments on any of my videos, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Please drop your comments down in this video and let me know your thoughts. Questions, concerns, etc., something that you might like to see featured on the next Know Your Troll video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out.